There's a harmony to our world that's worth preserving.
The touched are not a threat, yet you seem determined to prove that they are.
The church, the purists, they're a danger to us.
Something's going on with Lavinia here, Olivia, that we don't quite understand. Like, what can you tell us, without giving away too much, about sort of where her motivation might be going?
Well, on the face of it, she's in the great tradition of Victorian philanthropists, that she's spending her vast fortune on a refuge for outcasts of society. And I think there's some form of possibly correctional element to her charity. So that sense that almost some sort of missionary zeal, that if you go and have a place to sleep that's safe and you eat her food, that she is controlling the touched in some way. Her motive for controlling the touched might just be philanthropic, but it might be something else. We don't quite know yet. She's also got something dodgy going on with that doctor, but not quite sure what it is yet.
It's hard to imagine it can be good because he seems like such a bad guy.
Yeah. I'm surprised she can't see him coming with that beard, frankly. But anyway.
I mean, I will say, like, when you were talking about the missionary sort of stuff, eating her food, it does seem like she wants to help the touched, but she wants to help them in a way that's to make them palatable to her friends, to her society, on her terms.
Yes, and that has a modern parallel today. People are still trying to cure other people of their otherness, be it, going for sort of homosexuality retraining. But it was a great thing. People, one of our very own prime ministers in Victorian times used to go out late at night to try and save fallen women. Quite how he thought he was going to save them on his own on a dark street at night, we don't know. But there's an honourable tradition to Lavinia's behaviour.
Mm-hmm. And then
a dishonourable.
Dishonourable.
A dishonourable tradition to Lavinia's behaviour.
Let's speaking on Masson's behalf, though, Pip, he maybe doesn't have good intentions for the touched at all. Like, he sort of has good intentions for himself and other guys that look and act just like him. Am I correct?
You are entirely correct, although that is as it seems to be at the beginning. And I think rather as more is revealed about Lavinia's possible dark side as Massen progresses, as we see him sort of on and off stage, we sense that there's something possibly redeeming about him as a man, if not as a politician or a political actor. He is responding in the way that he knows best to what he sees as a threat to the very fabric of society. He says this is an unnatural. He uses this expression again and again. This is against the natural order of things. He would have read Origin of Species as a young man, I suppose, and accepted most of its findings. He seems to have a sort of a religious view of that. I think he worships the empire, first of all, and he regards the empire as the embodiment of probably survival of the fittest. But there's still something there. There's something locked away, literally locked away, which is close to his heart. We just need to stick with it and find out whether that will influence his efforts against or for the touched. But yes, on the face of it, he is an enemy, but it's never that simple.
I mean, it's interesting because it does seem, with some exceptions, like Augie, that a lot of the members of the touched, at least that we know so far, are members of not the aristocracy. Do you know what I mean? So there's some sort of like maybe classism there as well that plays in.
Augie's almost the exception, isn't he? I mean, I don't know how far you want to go with that, but that is an interesting anomaly. So yes, there's a social aspect to it.
Augie's a very complicated person.
You've known him all your life.
All I'm saying. But what is wonderful, I think this is something that Pip said earlier, so I'm stealing it, is that these ordinary people are made extraordinary, and that is what is threatening about them. They should never be extraordinary. And it's true, there's sort of, the white patriarchy doesn't like it when something extraordinary and brilliant comes out of the working classes or the immoral classes, or from some quarter that isn't theirs. They want to own it and possess it or destroy it.
I mean, it's a threat to power. Do you know what I mean? Like, they have all power over economic and people's sort of lives. And when these people say, no, I can break your house to bits by touching it, it's there's nothing they can really do about that. And it's scary. It'll be scary.
At the same time, it's very difficult to assimilate for them. Well, it's going to take time because, for men like Madison, it's always been like this. And it's always been men like them for thousands of years. They've been patriarchies with very few exceptions, and they've always repressed and regulated women. When there have been matriarchies in history, I don't think men have been as denigrated and downgraded as women are in a patriarchal mod.
Well, here's the other question. Am I correct in assuming that Massen might have a personal relationship to someone who is touched? Dun, dun, dun.
TBC, I think.
TBC, yeah.
I mean, and again, that goes to the sort of dramatic irony aspect that Olivia and I have been discussing all day, which is how much as characters we know and how much as actors we know about the characters, and what do we know that we know, and what do we know that we don't know, or maybe we don't know anything about anything. But he's certainly, in that scene with Amalia, enters into the role play that she suggests in a very interesting way, rather like he establishes, or she establishes with him, a quite intimate rapport at the opera by saying, you were a soldier. And he says, I didn't say I was a soldier. He doesn't say, don't you talk to me that young lady or anything. So they have a kind of get to it shorthand. And there's something about Amalia that Massen instinctively understands, even though he doesn't quite know what it is. And there's something that I think the same is true in reverse. So it may be that there's an affinity there, but then he is a widower. He's been in mourning for a long time, and he has other concerns. But again, we've been talking about this all day. There's a door that can be opened to a world of infinite possibility with almost every character you discuss.
I know where I am in a fight because I see glimpses of the future.
Something happened?